Hello, I'm Chris.
And I'm Shireen. We're of Technomadia.
And right now we're coming to you from off the coast of Cuba, where we are rocking and rolling on a Holland America cruise ship, the Zuiderdam.
We just ended an 11-day Panama Canal Cruise. It is technically our vacation, but we decided to test a little bit of mobile internet while we were out at sea and in some of our cruise ports.
So, what have we been testing out? We've got, on this trip, we've been playing with both the U.S. carriers roaming, so Sprint and T-Mobile, which have international roaming kind of included in some of their plans, as well as...
As we also picked up a Skyroam, which gives you unlimited data in over 100 partnered countries. So we decided to try all three and test them out in various ports of call that we're at. We had a stop in the Bahamas on Holland America's private island. We were in Aruba, Curacao, Cartagena, Panama,
Costa Rica,
and I think that was it, right?
And then we've coasted past the coast of Colombia, of Cuba here, and a few other islands as we were traveling as well.
So each of these options has pros and cons to them, and we thought we'd go over some of those and our experience with them. AT&T and Verizon both do have international options, but they are very expensive. They're not included. They are great for Mexico and Canada, but not outside of those two countries.
Right.
So they are great for RVers for Mexico and Canada, but if you're going world travel, then you need to be looking at roaming on Sprint, on T-Mobile, or something like a Skyroam. If you're just doing short term. If you're doing long term, it's always going to be best to seek out a local SIM card option in that country.
Right. So, or the other option on cruise ships is a lot of cruise ships offer onboard data and connectivity, but they charge you by the minute.
Which is weird because it's satellite and it's going to be slow.
Yeah, and data by the minute, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So you're sitting there reading a page of text and they're still charging you for it. And the speeds, we were able to use the free sites just to see how fast the satellite internet on the cruise ship was, and read the New York Times is the one free website they give you. And it was unbearably slow. It would bankrupt you to do much web work.
We have done it actually.
Yes.
When we've had working vacations on cruise ships, we have gotten an internet package. It costs either, on this ship, it's 75 cents a minute, or you can buy a package like $55 for 100 minutes. It is doable. We have done it before to keep in touch with client work when we're on vacation. And it is usable, but you have to really balance your usage much differently than you're used to on a data capped plan.
Yes.
So let's go over the three options that we have. So first of all, T-Mobile. On there, we have a simple choice. We pay $35 a month for 6 gigabytes of data on a mobile hotspot. So it's usually on a ZTE 917 mobile hotspot.
Or we actually use it in an iPad all the time as well.
So it includes tethering, and they're international. In Canada and Mexico, you get free unlimited high speed, or up to your data, up to the 6 gigabytes. You get that at high speed. But in other countries around the world, I believe they have about 150 partnered countries.
Yeah, tons of countries.
It's unlimited 2G, and in South America through the end of 2017, they've been including high speed.
Right.
So and then Sprint.
Well, and the one catch with T-Mobile is it does not include the Bahamas. So that is one kind of little island of islands, or one hole in their coverage is no coverage in the Bahamas.
Also, they do not, if you have a T-Mobile smartphone plan, when you're international, they don't include tethering by default. At least that's what their fine print says.
Yes.
We don't have a T-Mobile smartphone plan, so we're not able to test that. If you have their new T-Mobile One or One Plus plan, you also get the benefits of international, but with the One Plus, which is unlimited in the U.S., you also get 3G speeds internationally. So if you're doing a lot of international travel, the T-Mobile plan One Plus might make a lot of sense. But like I said, check on the tethering, but that's only available on smartphones.
Right.
And some iPads you can get it on.
Right.
So we were testing with the simple choice, which is their data-only plan for mobile hotspots.
Yeah, and the great thing about T-Mobile is you don't have to do anything to activate their international plans. They're there by default. That is now a sharp contrast to Sprint. Sprint also has some really great international plans, introduced in part to compete with T-Mobile, but you have to explicitly add them to your account. They're free, but you have to add them to your account, and to make things really confusing, there's two of them.
Two options.
Yeah, so Sprint's got global roaming, which works very similar to T-Mobile's, where a huge number of countries, you get unlimited 2G data, and then you get like 20 cents a minute voice stuff. Huge number of countries, and it actually does include the Bahamas. So that would have been a one way for us to get online for free in the Bahamas with Sprint. But the other option Sprint has is Sprint Open World, which includes a much smaller list of countries. A big chunk of Central and South America, though, is included. Not the Bahamas.
Or Curacao or Aruba.
Or Curacao or Aruba. If you're in those so if you're in the open world countries, you get voice calls, you get your text messages all for free, and you also get 1 gigabyte of high-speed data for free. But if you go over, you have overage charges, and if you are in one of the other countries, you pay very expensive roaming rates.
We did not know that. So T-Mobile, when you get to a new country to activate, it actually gives you a nice pop-up message that says, "Welcome to Panama. Here you get free 2G coverage," and it gives you the rates for voice and texting. We were just pulling in off the coast of Cuba right now, and we got a nice text message that actually said you're going to be paying $2 per megabyte for data. That will add up quickly. They're very explicit about it. Sprint, we got absolutely
no messages,
nothing.
no warnings. Sprint, you can go online and you can change your plan as needed, but you have to know which country you're in and what does it cost and is there an overage. So Sprint just makes it unnecessarily complex. If you are willing to manage it or at least plan out your countries in advance, the open world is great. Having high-speed data in South America and in some of the places we went was really, really wonderful. But it had a catch.
It's capped.
Yes, 1 gigabyte, and then if you go over, it's $30 a gigabyte.
Right. So we ended up, because we didn't know that we didn't have Aruba,
Bahamas.
Curacao, and Bahamas. And all we're doing is just speed tests on them. We ended up paying about $6. So it's not too bad, but we weren't really using it. We're just doing speed tests so that we could report this to you.
Right. So thank you, Sprint.
So now you know. Maybe you'll save some money on it. All right. So, and then the other option is Skyroam. And what this is a little mobile hotspot that you purchase for about $99. When we bought ours, it included 3 day passes. And what a day pass does is it gives you 24 access of
24 hours.
24 hours of unlimited high-speed data in, I think they have about 100 partner countries. And all of the ones that we visited, except for the Bahamas, was included on that. When they say unlimited, in their fine print, they do say that after 350 megabytes of use, they may throttle your service. We used about 800 megabytes in Costa Rica.
Yeah, and actually right around the 600 megabyte point, I noticed the speeds went to glacial. So they do seem to have a throttle. Maybe they're not enforcing it right at the 350 megabyte limit, but you can't necessarily count on it as a lot of high-speed data.
Yeah, they do also say that they are not optimized for video streaming, so doing things like Netflix or YouTube will probably not work. The way we tested it is Netflix had just turned on their downloading of video, so we just downloaded a couple videos while we were in Costa Rica just to test where that cat might be. That's not something we'd probably normally do, but
No.
Yeah, we needed to test because it's all research. So how do these 3 compare? So we've told you about the costs of each. Our T-Mobile hotspot plan we pay $35 a month for. Our Sprint we pay about $65 a month for
both a voice and a data line.
So we keep a minimal voice line with Sprint, and we have a unlimited
iPad line
for $20 a month on that. So we just for testing purposes. And then the Skyroam costs us $99 to purchase, plus the day passes are $8 a piece when you buy them in packs of 5 or more at a time. Yep. This does work in the U.S. and it does roam onto AT&T. So it is an option for those that want a backup carrier in the United States.
We're also going to have a video of the full, detailed, in-depth look at the Skyroam and ups and downs of it.
Right. That'll be a member only. We do have a in-depth review of this for our members, which you can get at rvmobileinternet.com.
Yep.
Okay, so how did these guys do? So we took some numbers. I'll put these up on the screen. Sprint, we pretty much got between 1.5 and 2.0 megabit per second down in all of the countries that we tested in, and the upload speeds varied from 0.28 to 1.26. So very usable speeds.
And just one comment on the speeds, because we're coming into cruise ports with a whole cruise ship full of crew all trying to get a line and call their families and stuff. We can't necessarily know how representative these speeds are. We try to take them at different times, but there's a population boom going on when we're testing.
So do keep that in mind. Yeah. On T-Mobile, they do say it is 2G speeds, and then we definitely did experience that because our speeds were anywhere from 0.05 to 0.15 down, even though the carrier was showing LTE.
Right.
They definitely did throttle down. except for when we were in Cartagena, which is part of their South America promo through the end of 2017. We got an amazing 42 down and 5 up. So definitely they're doing full speed in the countries they say they're doing full speed at.
So T-Mobile is great for just email and maybe an occasional web page. It's not fun surfing, but it just works. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to pay for it.
It really was. I did a lot of it because T-Mobile is unlimited 2G in the countries we're at. So I was able to do Facebook updates, check in with our assistants, do email, check in on comments on YouTube and things like that. And it worked really well. It was patience, but it did work. Okay, Skyroam.
Great.
This one. We pretty much got between 1 and 2 down and about half and 1.8 up. So very similar to the Sprint speeds. We definitely were getting, I wasn't getting as much, this one should have been getting HSPA Plus, which is 4G technically. Definitely wasn't delivering the high speeds that we were hoping for.
And the one thing we also seem to notice with Skyroam is that it seemed to have a lower priority on the tower than the other services. So a lot of times we'd see Skyroam drop out while the other ones were still staying connected.
So yeah, we had a lot more low speeds and high speed variation. So we took several testings on each of the carriers, and this one definitely had the most variability. But still, for unlimited data in many countries, you're not messing with SIM cards. It's a virtual SIM card. It was a pretty decent option if you're going to be doing intermittent international travel.
You just press one button and wait 5 minutes or so for it to set itself up, and then you're online.
Another note about T-Mobile on their international plans is you can buy day passes to get high speed and tethering if you're a smartphone user. They sell those for $15 a day, and that includes 100 megabytes of high-speed data. That will go very quickly.
100 megabytes.
Or you can get, for $50, you can get a 2-week pass that includes half a gigabyte, basically, of high-speed data. So they do have options to upgrade your speeds as you need them. So if you just need a little hit of high-speed data, T-Mobile does good.
And it does give you a really good contrast to Sprint giving you a gigabyte of high-speed data, which is really a nice deal for Sprint. Yeah.
So the two Sprint in the U.S., Sprint and T-Mobile are number 3 and 4 as far as coverage, but internationally they both are excelling there, especially with T-Mobile and Verizon giving, I think, the best international coverage for Mexico and Canada, which is, of course, of most interest to RVers. We do have a full guide to Canada coverage at rvmobileinternet.com/Canada that we keep updated with all of the options. And in our mobile internet handbook, we do have an entire chapter on international options, many of these 3 options covered, as well as some others, and more in-depth coverage on Mexico. So you can check out more information there.
Okay. Well, now we're going to head back up to the Lido deck or the trivia floor or wherever else we're going to do on this cruise ship. We've got one day left.
It's our last day on the cruise. We're going back to vacation. It's been awesome. Holland America is one of our favorite lines to travel on. They treat us pretty well. And they have some great options. Great food is one of my loves. The food on this trip.
Yep. And and so take care. I'll see you guys.
See you later.